Hey guys, what's going on? This right here is the solo Easter egg guide for completing Ancient Evil. Now, this guide's purpose is to help the people that want to complete the Easter egg solo for their very first time, or just do it easier overall. If you're looking for something like to do it more optimized or like a speedrunning guide, that's something that I am working on and should hopefully be on the channel in the next couple of days. However, let's just go ahead and jump right into it, and hopefully I will be able to help you out and you can go and complete this Easter egg solo for yourself. Now, the first thing I'm going to recommend is you're going to want to be playing either as Bruno or Shaw. They both have a mid-game cutscene that only if you're playing as one of those characters you can see. So if you want the full experience of the map, keep restarting and resetting your lobby until you get either Bruno or Shaw. For your class loadout, the perks I recommend are Quick Revive, Dying Wish, Bandolier Bandit, and Stamina. For elixirs, I recommend Anywhere But Here, Equipment, Temporal Gift, and Arsenal Accelerator. Use the chakrams as your special weapon and start with Wraithfire and the Strife if you have the Stiletto Knife attachment. The other thing you want to make sure of is on the Spitfire, you want to have the Wildfire Operator mod equipped if you have it unlocked. It is highly recommended for this Easter egg and will help a lot out during the boss fight and for the raw defense step as well. Now, once you load into the map, you're going to want to stay and spawn until the end of round 2. Once round 2 finishes, you can take either path and you want to go towards the amphitheater where you need to do the artifact ritual. During this lockdown event, once your chakrams are at full charge, go ahead and pull them out and get as many kills as you can once the zombies in the stands start pouring down into the arena. A really important fact with this Easter egg is the way that we're doing it. You want tier 3 chakrams before you get into the boss fight. So the more that you're able to use it, the better it's going to be for you. Once the ritual ends, make sure you pick up the max ammo, and then at this point, there's only a checklist of things that you need to complete before we move on to the pack-a-punch area of the map. The checklist of things that we need to get done is we need to get at least 3 out of the 4 perks that we can. We need to check all of the dormant hand spawn locations and at least upgrade the Chimera Fist. You want to go ahead and build the shield, and then you also want to go ahead and get at least 1 legendary or epic reward from doing the Apollo tributes. The first thing I'm going to cover are the dormant hands. 4 dormant hands will spawn throughout the entire map. The bad news though is they can spawn on both halves of the map. So it's possible to get only 1 hand on this side and then 3 hands on the pack-a-punch side and vice versa. It's also possible to get 0 hands on this current side and then all 4 hands on the pack-a-punch side. If you ever get that scenario, just instantly restart your game. It's not worth the pain and misery to go ahead and have all 4 hands on the pack-a-punch side. Every time you walk into Apollo's temple, the Oracle will tell you 1 location where the hands are at. I'm going to quickly flip through all the locations that are on the current side for this map. In a perfect world, you'll have 3 hands on this side and 1 hand on pack-a-punch side. But if you get 2 and 2, that's just as good, and it's not something to be upset about. Just as alongside as if you get all 4 hands on this side of the map and none on pack-a-punch. It's not the end of the world, but you can still make it work. Once you find one of your hands, go ahead and just do the Gaia ritual. Gaia is special because in solo up to 3 players for this Easter egg, you do not have to upgrade it. All you simply need to do is just make the Gaia Fist. So it saves a bunch of headache and a bunch of time. Once you do that, go ahead and find your second hand location and go up and start the Chimera ritual. Once you make the first fist, you then need to go around the map shooting 3 mirrors with the fist, and then you have to melee the bowl where this light lands and take that light back to the Chimera ritual before the light disappears on your fist. Once you get the 3rd light back to the shrine, you'll then have a portal spawn in that tells you to prove yourself to where you learn how to use the upgraded fist and to which you can then unlock it permanently. However, do not instantly go into this portal because there is a little trick you can use to where you can instantly kill the Giganese and get it to drop its shield. So on the map, there is a golden bridle that we need for Pegasus. It has 2 spawn locations, one by the Shield Bearer's Fountain and the other one's at the Treasuries. Whenever you pick it up, it spawns in a Machamp or a Giganese. Whenever this Giganese dies, it drops one of the pieces for the shield that we need. So you can either A, pull out your chakrams and just kill it naturally, which is completely fine, or if you want to, pick up the bridle right before you go into your Chimera Prove Yourself challenge, and if you do this, it will instantly kill the Giganees on the map and drop the shield wherever the Giganees happen to be at that time. Then all you have to do is when you get out of the trial is run to where you think the Giganees was last at on the map and look for the shield in that location. There are 2 more shield parts that you need. One of them can spawn up by the bridge in the river. It has 3 locations up there. And then the other one can spawn between the treasuries and the shield bearer's fountain, and it also has 3 locations. Once you have all the parts, go over to the marketplace, and in the corner is the workbench to where you can build the shield. While you're working on all these previous little things, you also want to make sure you're working on your Apollo tributes. For a later step in the Easter egg, you need to light the Eternal Flame, and to do that, you need to claim 1 epic reward and 1 legendary reward. Getting at least one of these rewards done before you go to Pack-a-Punch means you have a better chance at getting the really good challenges, which makes your life so much easier in the end. Having all those things that I've stated completed, making sure you have your 3 perks bought that you can, and if you have a 3rd dormant hand on this side of the map, making sure you have it picked up at this point, we can make our way to the Zeus perk, and Pegasus will be waiting there to take us to Pack-a-Punch side of the map. Once you make it over there, the first thing you want to work on is getting the Karen Gauntlet made. As you progress and open up the rest of the Pack-a-Punch side, you also want to be looking for the Pegasus Strike pieces, and you also want to be checking all the other hand spawns to see where your last hand spawn location could potentially be. In the first area you land, you can find 1 piece of the Pegasus Strike. You can find the tongs. Another thing you also want to be doing as you're running around the map is continuing to do your challenges. The challenge bowl on this side of the map is over by Hephaestus' Forge on the left side. Now when you make your way to the right side for Charon's Shrine, this is where you can find one of the hammer spawn locations. It has 3 locations and they're all right next to each other. Head up to the shrine and go ahead and complete it to get the first version of the gauntlet. Head up to the River of Sorrows and you have to start getting kills, and the zombies need to die close to the water part. They will get pulled down by skeletons, and this is how you know you're going to be doing it right. Once you get enough kills, you'll get a prompt directly in the center telling you to drink from the river. You then need to run around the map and you need to collect 3 coins. There will be a bunch of fake coins, but you can hold square on them and it will extinguish them. The other thing about this step that I didn't mention off the bat is you don't get health regeneration while you are searching for the coins. So make sure that you're safe and you don't take an accidental down. Head back to the shrine and put the 3 coins in. However, do not go into the Prove Yourself challenge yet. You want to backtrack down to one of the eagle cages. You want to shoot down the cage from just shooting the bottom of it, and eventually it will fall. Pull out your specialist and you need to melee the cage for the eagle to get free. This will spawn in a Giganees. However, we're going to do the same thing that we did on the first side, and we're not actually going to have to worry about killing him unless you want to. If you're not prepared to kill him, you can just jump into the challenge and it will just instantly despawn him. Once you complete this trial, you can put the hand back on the shrine, and this is when you're going to need to find your 4th dormant hand. If you potentially in your game had all 4 hands in the other side, you can't do anything until you open up Pack-a-Punch. If you need to look for your hand on this side, I'm going to flash through them all as fast as I can. And quick side note, I forgot 2 locations. One's on the bridge to the left birdcage, and another one is to the left of the Titan wallby. There's one more piece of the Pegasus Strike that we actually need to find. It's the anvil, and it spawns by the forge itself. Those were the 3 locations that I just pointed to. Once you find it, go to the workbench, build it, and go ahead and pick it up for yourself. We now need to break the eagle out of the left bird cage using our specialist, and then we need to run into the Pack-a-Punch area to where it's going to throw us into a lockdown event. Now, if you happen to have your 4th hand, you can go ahead and place it on the Oronor Shrine and do both of these at the same time. So with the magic of editing, we're going to imagine that happened in my game and we waited for Pack-a-Punch to be open. When the Oronor's glove is ready, go ahead and pick it up. You now need to blast the zombies into broken arrows around the map and float a feather to the shrine. For the feather that is down by Pack-a-Punch, you only need to shoot it in the air a singular time. That will be enough for it to float to the shrine. For the next 2 arrows, you need to shoot each of these feathers twice while they're in mid-air. One is on the cliff ruin side by the box location, and the other arrow is right next to the Charon shrine. Once you've floated all the feathers, you've completed the first part, and then you can go into the Prove Yourself challenge to upgrade your gauntlet. Once you come out of the trial, go ahead and place the Oranos gauntlet back on its shrine and run over and pick up the Blood gauntlet. Also, make sure before you leave the Pack-a-Punch area that you go ahead and buy a Spitfire off the wall. It's up by the top portal to the left near the symbol door. Head into the Temple of Apollo and go ahead and claim your last reward, which should ignite the Eternal Flame. Pull out your shield and melee into it. Your spear should be on fire now. You now need to take that spear and melee it on 3 oil locations around the map. Make sure when you melee the oil spot, it does indeed catch on fire. If it didn't catch on fire, keep meleeing it until it does. Now head down to the Zeus perk and shoot a charged blood shot in the middle of all the statues in a circle. Stand in the shot and you'll go into a weird vision. You now need to shoot 4 of the statues when their eyes are glowing blue. It doesn't need to be all in one shot, but if you can do it all in one shot, it makes it even better. Once you finish that, we now need to destroy 3 walls around the map, so that way we're able to throw spears into cogwheels. One wall is just to the left of the auger wall by. Another one is next to the wagon with skulls on it, right next to the treasuries. And the last location is right by the general's column, where we ignited one of the oil locations. You just need to time the spear perfectly to land in the smaller cogwheel as it passes the larger cogwheel. Now head to the Shield Bearer's Fountain, and now you need to throw another spear into the back building. The timing to throw this one is whenever all 3 statues are facing the central crystal. We now need to head to the Danu perk area, and there's vines that we need to shoot using the Gaia Gauntlet. These can be a little bit tricky, but the first one is just a single one. The second one is 2 vines, and just aim in the middle and kind of spam until they split off. The third one, do the same thing. Aim in the middle and kind of spam it until you get a Giganese to spawn in. Take the Machamp over to where the Ankh and the crystals are at the treasury. You now need to get him to shield blast the Ankh and the crystals so that way it knocks it free. The easiest way I found to do this is to try to keep him a little bit away from the actual Ankh that we're aiming for, and then shoot him a little bit in his weak spot. Once he's shot in his weak spot some, that's typically when he does his shield blast the most often. Once he shield blasts, immediately go ahead and pull out your chakrams and just use it to kill him. He'll drop a golden spear. Go ahead and pick up the golden spear and the Ankh off the ground. Drop the Ankh off at the Raw statue right nearby, and then we're going to go grab the Chimera Gauntlet and head over back to the Danu perk. This is also a really good chance to Pack-a-Punch if you have the points for it. Go ahead and place the spear into the golden circle. Now you'll notice the yellow line on the ground. What we're going to do is kill an electric catalyst zombie on top of the golden circle. Quick side note as well, if you do this at the same pacing as I was doing in this recording round-wise, round 14 is always a guaranteed Blightfather, so just be prepared for that if you're doing it at the same pacing. Anyway, killing the electric zombie on the circle charges it up. You then get a spinning symbol on the ground and there will be a blue symbol. You need to line the blue symbol up with that yellow line that I mentioned previously. If you end up messing up, it will give you a little electric shock and it will let you know that you failed. All you simply need to do is just get another electric catalyst, kill it on there, and do it again. Every time you successfully do it, you'll get a character quote letting you know that you've partially done it. You need to do this a total in 3 times. Also, another side note, whenever you go to interact, you can interact anywhere on top of the gold circle. You don't have to be going directly for the spear in the middle. Once you get the 3rd symbol to line up, you then need to head back over to the raw perk statue. Now becomes the most difficult step of this entire solo Easter egg. Now, before we go into the strategy, yes, I understand there is the fail strategy to which you hope that you get all the skeletons to spawn in and then none of the skeletons will block the laser. but that's not the strategy that I want to teach you guys about. You want a Pegasus Strike ready to go, you want equipment ready to use, and you want as much ammo in your Spitfire as you possibly can. Place a Pegasus Strike in the doorway nearest to the treasuries. Let it sit there, and then you want to position yourself in the stairway closest to where you pick up the light for the Chimera upgrade. Sitting in this spot lets you see the light beam the best and to know where the skeleton is at if it's actually blocking it. Now, whenever you hear a Blightfather spawn in, go ahead and run up the staircase and slam down your second Pegasus Strike that you got from equipment. Run back inside and kill the Blightfather as fast as possible. And then after that, you simply just need to survive. The Blightfather is what causes most of the issues for being able to handle this step. If for some reason you start running low on ammo, don't forget that the laser beam will kill the regular zombies if they run through it. And on top of that as well, don't forget that your shield is very strong in this map. You can throw spears, and you can go up and insta-stab almost anything. And you also have your specialist that you can use if you get in a really tight pinch. Once the laser is done doing its thing, go to the broken wall and then pick up Ra's scepter to go place back in his hand. You now want to go pick back up the Chimera gauntlet, and we're going to make our way to the amphitheater for the hit your mark step. Go ahead and just stand in the symbol, and then the Easter egg step will begin. Now, a few things to note about this step. There's 3 phases. The first phase has 3 that you need to complete. The second phase has 4 completions, and the 5th phase has 5 completions. After each phase, you always have to run back to your starting position. And the last biggest thing that people often worry about this is your gauntlet ammo and running out of ammo. The way this step is designed is if you ever go below 10 ammo and then you have another step or another phase that you have to complete, it will put you back to 10 ammo. So you don't need to worry if you for some reason you use a lot in the early parts of this step. But if you complete all 3 phases, then you get past this step and you move on to the next one. However, you want to be attentive whenever you finish the hit your mark step. It's going to spawn in a max ammo and points. You want to grab those and then instantly go into the portal. While you're traveling to the Pack-a-Punch side, you want to take notice about the round. If the round ends up changing, you want to go straight up to the symbol door that is to the left of the top portal. If you do this, you'll have just enough time to shoot in the symbol combination that you need to do. Now, if for some reason the round doesn't change and you're still mid-round, just wait until either you get to the next round change or you hit a nuke to spawn in, and then that will give you plenty of time to shoot these symbols in this same correct order. Now, as long as you are Shaw or Bruno, this is where you will get a special cutscene to spawn in. If you are Scarlet or Diego, you do not need to interact with that door, and you can go directly to this next step. There will be a Pegasus symbol right at the top of this staircase. You need to put a Pegasus Strike right on top of it, which will then summon the Pegasus to pull the ballista out of the ground. Run down and pick up the Oronos gauntlet, and then run back up top, slam down a Pegasus Strike, and then while aiming at the ballista, do a full charge shot until the ballista cocks back the spear. You then want to take the portal directly behind you and make sure you have a fully replenished shield. You gotta go back to the Eternal Flame and melee it again to get your spear on fire. You then need to head to the acid trap and make sure you are sprinting through the acid trap with the shield out. The flame on your spear will then become green. Take this back up to the ballista and melee the rope, which will then launch the ballista and the spear into the big lady in the background. We are now ready to go into the boss fight. So before we go into the boss fight, there's a few checks you want to make sure. One, you want to have the blood gauntlet, or at least it's the one I recommend. Its monkey bomb effect on its charged shots is too good to pass up. 2, you want a fully packed Spitfire, especially if you have the operator mod for it. It is very good for this boss fight. 3, you also want to make sure that your chakrams are at level 3. If your chakrams aren't at level 3, the boss fight will take longer, especially on the Pegasus phases. But once you feel that you're all ready to go and you're as best as you're gonna be, go ahead, go up to the portal where the egg was and hold square. After a short little cutscene, Pegasus will come flying at you. Go ahead and get some damage in now while you can, and it will help take him down the first time a lot easier. You first need to kill a Machamp that's going to spawn in, and then Pegasus will respawn in. You need to do enough damage to Pegasus, and then he will crash to the ground, and he will start glowing orange. This is when you need to activate your specialist and activate the tier 3 ability and try to position yourself to where you're getting constant hit markers on him. You constantly repeat this until you get past the Pegasus phases. Now, a few things to note that do help during this. 1. Gauntlets are not a bad choice of weapon. Sometimes Pegasus' spawn can be a little bit wonky, so if they're farther away with the tracking ability to gauntlets, it can help you get some damage to where you otherwise would not have gotten damage. 2. You want to do your best to avoid the forest island. It's always the first island that gets destroyed, and if you're ever getting caught on it while you're trying to, for some reason, maybe damage Pegasus, you're almost always guaranteed one down. The third big thing to notice is about the fire itself. The fire from the spears that the boss throws himself. And if you get caught by one of the hellfires whenever one of the islands get destroyed, both of those things will recharge your specialist at a very increased rate. So if you have the health to spare, make sure that you are running through the fires whenever you need your specialist to get back up. Now, the way to tell that you're past the Pegasus phase is whenever you're looking up at the Warlord on the central island, his red bubble will disappear. This is how you know you're going into the last phase of the boss fight. The Warlord / Perseus part of this boss fight is very similar to Pegasus. All you have to do is you're going to go back to the central island. Again, you can sit on the other island if you need some specialist charge, just as a little trick. So whenever the Warlord actually teleports down to you in the boss fight, you want to spam his shoulder specifically as much as you can. If you don't do damage in the right spot or enough on his very first teleport, you gotta watch out. His attack will insta-down you if for some reason you don't have Dying Wish left. However, just wait till he teleports back down and start loading into his shoulder again. If you do it right, he'll glow orange just like Pegasus, and then pull out your specialist and go to town on him. As long as your chakrams are at tier 3, it should only take 2 specialist activations on top of him to actually get him killed. Once he finishes his little dialogue, all you have to do is pick up the key that he drops, and then that is it. You have completed the Ancient Evil Easter egg. So I hope my guide has hopefully been able to help those out there who have been wanting to complete the Easter egg for their very first time in solo. And if I was able to help out with that at all, I greatly appreciate it, and I hope that it helped your experience be better with this map, because I love this map. So until the next video, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the future.